Okay, so we were just talking about lists. Sorry. Okay, so we were just talking about lists, and we created this list here with G, H, J, and K. And I just want to point one thing out here. Before we had a data frame, a patient data frame. We've been talking about it. And if we put a 2 in there, we, let's see, what was this data frame again? Or was it here? Patient, this is patient ID. Patient data here. So the 2 is the age one. It's the second one. So if we put 2 in there, we get the age, we get this out. On the other hand, if we, I don't think we tried this, but we could do this. Put 2 in here, and we get this. Now I just saw it, now don't get confused. I mean, well, so we just saw this double bracket for the list structure, and now I'm introducing, I'm doing it here too, but don't get confused. That before we saw it for the list, here I'm showing it to you for the data frame. But anyway, I'm just wondering, like in the data frame case, if I do 2 with a single bracket versus I do 2 with a double bracket, it looks like it's the same thing. I'm getting this and I'm getting this, but it's obviously not exactly the same thing because one of them is vertically displayed and the other is horizontally. So there must be some difference. And like I've been saying, these differences can be kind of important in the sense that if you have an object and you don't really know what it is, so if I assign this to some variable and I assign this to some variable, are they the same thing? They seem to have like the same kind of contents, but they may not be of the same format, so to speak. So that could be that could cause problems. So I'm trying to make you focus on the type of object that something is, as well as what it contains, because I've had so many problems myself with that. Now I also tried putting a 2 in like this, which is kind of weird, but I'm saying it's a vector. And there it comes out the same way this came out. So it doesn't matter whether I do it this way or this way. Of course, you wouldn't normally do it this way. But we did see an example where we had like 2:3 in here, which is also a vector. And it gave us 2 columns, but it was column-wise. It wasn't horizontal-wise. Okay, so what's the difference here? So if I do it this way with a 2, and I assign it to the value of variable y, versus I do it this way with the double brackets and assign that to z, what's the difference? So once again, the double brackets made it display like this, and the single brackets made it display like this. And what does that suggest? This one is actually a data frame still. So the original thing was a data frame, and when I put the 2 in with just the single brackets, it's still a data frame. Whereas this one with the double brackets doesn't really look like a data frame. It looks like it might be a vector. So so there seems to be some difference. And so I'm going to check that by assigning this to variable y, and this to variable c, and then z, and then checking their structure. That's what I did. This one to y with just the single brackets, and this one to z with the double brackets. Double brackets give me the vector, it looks like. Single brackets give me the maybe a data frame, and then I confirm it. Single brackets here, structure, data frame. Double brackets here, structure, it's a vector. This means vector, by the way. Doesn't explicitly say a vector, but this means it's a vector. Okay? So so notice that. Notice that if you have single brackets, you sort of still hold on to the original structure, patient data structure, which was a data frame. Whereas if you use double brackets, so I'm thinking like this as a kind of way to remember it. The double brackets sort of go deeper into the data and retrieve the original format of whatever 2 was. So 2 was age, and the original format of age is a vector. So when you do the double brackets, you go kind of deeper into this data frame, and you kind of get excavate the original form. So age originally was what? Where is it? Here. Age was originally a vector, so when you use the double brackets, you get that. The same thing, okay, now let's go to here. So now we have this, we're creating this list, and if I do double brackets versus single brackets on the list, so what I'm suggesting is that the double brackets retrieve the original structure, whereas the single brackets, it's still a list, that what's returned or sent to B is still a list. So is it true? So A was a vector, and when I do A, I'm thinking it's going to bring me back a vector, whereas B, I'm thinking it's going to bring me back a list. So does that work? So the structure of A is a vector, the structure of B is a list, says a list. It's just a list of one element, and it gives it like this. Okay? So that's one way to think about these double brackets. They're kind of going back and retrieving the original format. Now, let's try one more. So try this one. C is, I'm going and extracting the original form of 3, so that's the J, so it's a matrix. So according to what I said, I should return a matrix type, not a list. But actually I don't get either. What I get when I check the structure is what? This is a vector. So you might be sort of angry at that, because angry at me for saying that, because I just told you it retrieves the original format. But actually remember that we said at least one time we said that a matrix is actually just a vector that is displayed with rows and columns. But really it's a vector. And so we get it as a vector. And what does this mean? 1 to 5. I guess that means the dimensions, or the number of rows and columns. But still, it's basically saying it's a vector. Now if I did this, let's see what happens if I do this. Get rid of that and assign that to D. Now, according to my hypothesis, this is going to return what? D is of what type? It should be a list. Okay? Alright, let's stop there.